One common critique I had about this when I was getting into the world of inner work and self-improvement, spirituality, was, well, if I'm in a low state, like I'm literally in this crappy 2-bedroom Seattle apartment where it rains 300 days a year. I don't even think we have heat in the house. My business isn't working. I'm just literally at my computer blanking and I have no energy to really do anything. How do I operate in a high vibe when I'm obviously in a low vibe? Like, this feels fake. Here's a deep dive answer on that. There was a study done, I believe it was published in the Journal of Neurophysiology. I'm gonna paraphrase it here, but they took 2 groups of people and they were gonna teach them how to play piano. The first group of people, they gave lessons for 5 days for 2 hours. They'd never played piano before in their life. They hooked them up to an fMRI, a brain scanner, and they could see all these new motor networks that started connecting. That's what happens in your brain. When you start learning new skills, you get better and better. It becomes more habit, becomes more subconscious. The first time you do it's really tough, and then your brain starts to formulate all these new connections. It just becomes easy. Here's where it gets crazy. The second group, 5 days, 2 hours a day, except they never laid a hand on the piano. All they did is they showed them what they would be doing and they just had them mentally rehearse it. This is what's really cool, is when they hooked them up to the same brain scanner, they found almost an identical amount of new motor pathways that had formed. When I heard that, I got goosebumps, because why that's so cool is that your brain doesn't know the difference between something that you vividly imagine and actually experience in reality. You often hear the advice, fake it till you make it. If you're not competent for the job, just freaking fake it, buddy, and then, no one will know the difference. Actually, that's not that bad of advice, except for the fact that you often feel fake when you're doing it. So the best take on that advice, be as if. Be as if you are that person already. Because remember, your brain doesn't know the difference between if you're faking it or not. So when you're tapping into these higher vibe states, even though they don't feel like it yet, that's actually the process of raising yourself up and being as if. When I was 30 grand in debt in my mom's basement, I started creating this 2.0 identity version of me. And I said, although I don't have it yet, the million subscribers, the millions of dollars, if that's where I want to be over here and I'm back here, well, every single day that I'm actually on that path, eventually I'll get there if I don't quit, right? That's the exact same process with you. So if it feels fake, it's just because you're at the start. And if you just be as if and stay on that path, eventually you start to merge in and you are that person. And that whole realness of when it actually happened is an illusion. In other words, it's a gradual moving and attracting towards. It's not just like a flip a switch and then it happens. I actually found a shortcut. So instead of working through these, just jump straight up here. And it's one word: excitement. I'm convinced that excitement is the most powerful vibe you can tap into. Because when you're really excited about something or someone or some opportunity or a new future, that snaps you out of low vibe like that. But I think a lot of people just forget. They do one thing and they get excited one time, usually around New Year's, right? So when you get excited about this dream version of you, it actually snaps you in to some of these higher vibes, even if you're in a lower vibe, and your brain is thinking, well, I'm excited. I don't know if this thing has happened yet because I'm visualizing it. Like we showed you in that piano study, you don't know the difference. I often say that when you're visualizing or you're manifesting or when you're journaling or you're thinking about this 2.0 you, it feels like deja vu when you get it. That's the freaky thing about when things start to manifest into your life, when your life just starts to turn around and everything starts clicking and you start seeing these results. Yes, you're excited in the moment, but when you get it, there's a different level of acceptance of yep, I knew this was gonna come. Great. You're not entitled, you're not ungrateful, but it's not like you just got surprised, knock on the door. Hey, you just won the lottery. Here's 40 million bucks. It's not that kind of thing. So find ways to tap into this excitement every day. I've spoken before about creating a mini scene in a movie and revisiting that every single morning or evening, tapping into that excitement, feeling the emotions of you in that dream 2.0 version. Maybe this is journaling. Maybe this is looking at other people and getting really excited about seeing what's possible. Being excited when you see people who are crushing it and being like, you go, I'm gonna cheer you on, good for you. And hey, that's possible for me too. There's one important point here on this chart, because you might be thinking, well, why do sometimes I feel like I'm in that state of where everything's clicking, but then other times I feel like I'm bouncing down here? I got the answer. You actually you don't have one vibration, you have two. You have a habitual state of where you calibrate, and then you have a temporary state of where you can jump into. Your habitual state is what you are in 80% of your life, your day-to-day, and that's more who you are. Your temporary state is the 20%. Let's say you feel really lonely or you feel isolated. Well, when you're hanging out with friends, maybe you don't feel that. And so for a moment, you're in that high vibe state. And then as soon as you go back and this excess stimulation is gone, your friends leave, you're just like shot back into the low vibe state. Let's say you feel tired and anxious and in your head. Well, a lot of people, they take the outside stimulation of drinking and it helps loosen them up. It gives them liquid courage, right? Which if you notice on the chart calibrates in the middle. So if they're in a low vibe state, liquid courage, it brings them up and they have all this new energy to talk to people and like be themselves and express. But what's the problem? Well, you can't be drunk forever. I spoke about relationships earlier. So in this case with habitual versus temporary, some people are in a habitual emotion, a lower vibe. And remember, you attract to you what you are, not what you want. And so maybe they leave a relationship that they self-describe as being toxic. Oh, he was so toxic. He was a narcissist. And they get out of it and they're going through all these emotions. And then like 3 months later, they're in a new relationship and they're vibing so high. And they're like, this person is totally different. This person is like ultimate, like, oh, I'm so in love. And then what happens after 3 months with that person? They start to notice all these negative traits about them. The rose-colored glasses mirroring that person's flaws come off and they see them more objectively. And they're like, what the heck happened? Like, where did that person go? Where they went was there all along. You just shot up into that high vibe temporarily of love and then you recalibrated to your habitual vibe. What's the solution there? Is it to just keep jumping ship? It's to look within and raise your habitual vibration instead of focusing on that excess stimulation. So you need to recalibrate this habitual state. What you notice is that when you start doing this inner work, when you start learning how to let go, is you find that your lows are higher and your highs are higher as well. There's a range of experience. So if you're just in this range right here, you can only experience these emotions. Maybe temporarily you get shot up to here and then you go back down. But then as you start to habitually raise your vibration through inner work, through letting go, boom, now you're here. Boom, now you're here. And boom, now you're here. And so it's really hard when you're in this state to get sucked all the way back down. We've been talking a lot about raising your vibe. And I think that one of the best ways to raise it is to actually let go of lower ones. A lot of these lower ones come from your core stories or what's happened in your past. You need to let go so you can make space and move up and let things in.